Ah, yes, Broadmoor. Have a seat. Have a seat. You wanted to speak to me about something? Mm-hmm. 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 Well, hold on. Maintain low tones. You know that the directors do not like loud voices. They don't even like normal voices. Speak softly. Well, why do you think most of the people who work in this division are young women such as yourself? So please speak softly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Broadmoor, we've been over this before. We conduct experiments on human emotions mixed with human psychology. Now, this particular division focuses on anger and rage, and there are certain individuals that the directors on certain days, certain weeks, heck, even certain months, they want us to target them. So we send out our very special agents to intentionally create confrontational scenarios, encounters, and then we see how the subjects respond to them. Now, what exactly is your concern with the subject whom we were told to stimulate last week? Yes, I'm fully aware of that particular subject. Late 40s, security guard. Yes, please, go on. Hmm. Hmm. Well, the incident just before the start of his shift on Friday, that was out of my control. Yes, out of my control. You have to keep in mind, even though I am the supervisor of this section, it is not my call whom our agents target, whom we experiment on. Now, you know that there is a rotating basis for events. Normally, they are isolated. However, sometimes we intentionally target certain individuals, and that particular security guard, I do not know why the directors wanted us to target that one all last week. Now, considering what he was put through, okay, fair enough. Considering what we put him through with the use of our special agents, quite frankly, it's a miracle he did not lash out in violence. Hmm. 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 Well, that first incident, it was supposed to be a minor irritation, and indeed it was. He handled it the way we expected him to. Now, the incident with the Mercedes-Benz driver on the expressway being absolutely obnoxious, well, it was surprising that the subject did not chase after him, but let him go. Mm-hmm. 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 Well, and in the same day, there was that incident in the bank with the special agent who was portraying a worthless, low-life immigrant. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, he was told to intentionally be very rude, but to behave as though he had no fighting ability, and to behave as though he had a much lower intellect. Now, he is an excellent actor, you have to admit. Mm-hmm. Well, it's part of the routine. Whenever one of these incidents occurs, if we have an opportunity, we always have another agent behaving like a lowlife who then tries to morally correct this particular subject who works as a security guard. Oh yes, we've done it numerous times. Yes. There was the individual who pretended to be a nut job at the supermarket on Memorial Day, who behaved as though women are, well, who behaved as though women are to be coddled, protected, typical male 1950s attitude, dinosaur mentality. And indeed, on that occasion, the subject called him out on it. Yes. Yes. Well, things were escalating a bit more than we were comfortable with. And as of now, all of our agents are told not to actually get into a physical confrontation with this particular subject who works as a security guard, but they are allowed to threaten to beat him up and see what sort of response he gives them. Well, considering he's 280 pounds and 6'2", from a physical standpoint, yes, he could injure pretty much all of the agents who were assigned to tick him off. Mm-hmm. 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 Well, you have to understand why we do this doesn't matter. The directors send us orders. They are very specific who we are to target. They are very specific whom we are to stimulate with anger and to track the results. Now, I don't know why they decided to focus on this security guard last week and to make things far more difficult for him than is normal, but, well, it's the director's decisions, and they chose him. I don't know why. Well, yes, on his last shift, we had that new employee come by, and we asked him to behave like a religious fanatic nut job. Well, he was given some leeway, and perhaps that was a mistake. Well, the problem is this security guard is a Christian, and the individual who came in could have picked a variety of religions. Yes, including Islam. That would have been the most likely one, but instead he chose some sort of new age, energy, positive vibes religion, which normally a young woman such as yourself might have when she's 20, and usually she outgrows it by the time she's 30. For some bizarre reason, he decided his character should adopt this New Age religion and should be an absolute fanatic about it. Well, we started off the scenario with the security guard being absolutely outraged beyond belief that a brand new supervisor, whom he had never heard of, never encountered, never spoke to, and never contacted him, all of a sudden contacted the security guard whom he is relieving and told him to tell the subject, oh, you have to train someone. And that was a level of disrespect that he wasn't going to tolerate. No man would. Well, no, I'm being honest. Let's not play any silly gender games. No man would tolerate that level of disrespect, and indeed he didn't. But he remained respectful towards our agent, who was there specifically to tick him off, and our agent had to go out of his way to cause an argument. Yes. Well, what can I say? That whole ripping the tie from his collar was a bit over dramatic, but he was instructed to act like a nut job. Just surprised that he acted like a New Age nut job. Well, yes. I mean, it was an interesting result. Our agent challenged him to a fight, and the subject said, no, you are not worth it. I am not throwing away a good job on someone like you. The agent was instructed that he should head outside immediately after challenging the subject to a fight, and then to disengage. The subject picked up his phone, called his supervisor, his direct supervisor, who happens to be one of our agents, of course, and explained everything. I mean, the subject even took accountability for his bad mood coming in, which we caused. Yes, with everything else that happened during the week, with those 2 trespassers on the property, yes, we caused that. Those 2 trespassers were our agents as well. Well, they look a lot younger than they are, as do you. I mean, I'm sorry, but you could easily pass for a 14-year-old and you're 24, so what can I say? Well, the surprising result was that the situation made the relationship with his regular coworker, whom he normally relieves, much stronger. I mean, don't get me wrong. He doesn't respect Tony, but he likes Tony, and now considers Tony to be a friend, not just a coworker. Tony, of course, isn't his real name. He's one of our agents. And, Tony was told to behave like a good person, but someone dumber than a box of rocks. And he's done an excellent job. I mean, he's this Tony character that he came up with. It's amazing that someone that stupid, genuinely stupid, could be functional in life and at the same time has a good heart. Now, he's also one of our agents. And then, of course, there are the agents on the online forums that this particular subject likes to visit. Well, I mean, you would think that the biggest forum website for RC cars would be a lot bigger than it is, but at this point, the subject goes there every single day. It's the only forum site he goes to, and he shares personal, private information, and he enjoys being one of the regulars with the other regulars. He enjoys communicating with them, and he has no clue that all of them are our agents, all with distinct personalities that they were told to adopt. And yes, it's a little interesting that everyone he agrees with, politically, religiously, almost all of them are on his ignore list. That was an interesting result, although he did clarify why. Apparently, he respects people who can communicate in a dignified, respectful manner, and those who act childishly towards him or are toxic towards him, he immediately tosses them on his ignore list. Subsequently, he has a lot of individuals on there whom we've told to agree with him on a political and religious basis. Yes, but people whom he fundamentally disagrees with, but whom he can have a civil discussion with, those are not on his ignore list. So that is an interesting result. Look, you have to understand something. The directors direct us, and we direct the special agents. That's how it works around here. Now, I don't know why the security guard was chosen for multiple anger, possibly rage-inducing scenarios for most of the week, but that's what the directors wanted. And quite frankly, I'm surprised he never lashed out in violence. Now, I hope this is the last time we need to have this conversation. If you don't like what we do here, you can ask for a transfer. Believe me, though, you do not want to be transferred to the division that traces depression and its psychological reactions. You don't. Trust me. You are better off with us here at Anger and Rage with psychological results than you are over at depression and psychological results. Trust me, you do not want to go there. Happiness? Are you kidding? No, there is no division that traces psychological results with happiness. Well, that would just be silly. I mean, if you want to transfer, I'll approve it, but I would seriously advise that you reconsider.